What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and today we're going to be talking about Wolong Fallen Dynasty, and I have some fresh, exclusive gameplay to bring your way. So, courtesy the folks at Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja, I had a chance to fly on out to San Francisco and play a current build of the game. For those that had a chance to check out the demo back in September, after that demo, they announced essentially post-demo patch notes talking about a bunch of changes, balance changes, and adjustments that were coming based on player feedback. And in the build that I got a chance to play, I got to see the effects of all those changes. So just a really good visualization of where the game is at in its current state, how development's been proceeding. Got to talk with the creative director, a couple different other folks on the team, and today I'm here to share my thoughts with you. So this is going to be much more of a podcast style video. I'm just going to kind of be rambling on, if you will. The footage you're seeing is my very first time checking out the new demo zone, so a lot of kind of like wandering around and looking in places for goodies. It was definitely much shorter and smaller compared to the public demo we had, and you only actually went up to a morale level of 5 in this demo, which isn't very high. But they capped it off there, and they even adjusted spells so that we could use all the spells by that point, which was nice because it gave me a chance to test out a couple different builds and kind of see how well things would flow in the full launch version of the game. So either way, let's talk about some of the most significant changes. And the first is going to be the heal. Oh my god, the heal. So for those that played the demo, I'd say the speed of the heal was probably one of the biggest complaints I saw from people. We were talking like Dark Souls 2 Estus chug heals, and it was, I mean, as fast-paced as this game is, you know, it's very fluid. There's a big emphasis on deflects and redirects and dodging around, and it didn't really make sense that we had this slow-ass heal. Well, I'm happy to report that when they said they were going to adjust the heal, they were not kidding. The heal is significantly faster. I'll get into a scuffle here in like a minute or so, and I'll call it out, and you'll be able to see it. But the heal is much more in line with like a Bloodborne Vial speed. So when you hit that heal button, it is coming out very fast. You'll easily be able to get it off in the middle of combat. You know, you're not going to be worried about that anymore. So that is probably the most significant change, and the one that I was like, wow, this is crazy. Outside of that, they also increased the window on the deflects or the parries, whatever you want to call them. At launch, someone actually like data mined some info, and the deflect timing, the parry timing was like half the frames we got in Sekiro. It was something insanely low. Like I think you had 10 frames to land a deflect, which is extremely tight. And I'm happy to report that has been adjusted. It is significantly easier to pull off now. I mean, at least for someone like me. Keep in mind, when I say significantly easier, I'm someone that, you know, I drink and eat these games constantly. I play games and try to parry everything in the world. You know, right now, obviously, I'm working on Ragnarok, and I've been, you know, trying to be parry god as I'm playing that. So when it comes to parrying, I mean, keep in mind, Sekiro, I did like a no-death run. So when it comes to parrying, parrying is like my jam. Look at the heal here. Watch this. Watch how fast this goes. Boop. Look at that. Look at that beautiful heal. How fast that went off. Oh, I love it. But yeah, so parrying has been improved greatly. And not only on bosses. On bosses, I noticed like the big boss attacks that are very telegraphed. You could easily see that coming in. I mean, I could at least, and I was able to nail those parries. But on the smaller enemies too, I found it much easier to get off the parry on the smaller enemies, which was one of the things I felt wasn't as polished with the previous demo that we got. So big kudos there, just seeing the timing increased in general, because that was one of my things, is it felt like parrying was such an integral part of the gameplay here, yet at the same time it felt like the timing was just too tight, and now it feels good. Now it feels like if you wanted to go through this game as parry god, you can do that now, no question asked. Moving on, just something to touch on real quick. So you may have saw it just a second ago, but they changed gravity. Gravity is not an instant kill now. When you fall off, gravity will take roughly 25 to like 30% of your health. And then after you're down at like 1 health, if you fall, you'll eventually die. But the point being, this is huge. There is no you know, you're not going to instant die to gravity. It's going to take, like, if you die falling off the cliff, it's because you basically had no health left to begin with. And that's really big, because to be honest, for me, my #1 enemy in games like this is always gravity. Gravity is the one enemy that no one can beat. It has the most kills out of every enemy across all the Souls-likes in existence. So, you know, knowing that gravity is no longer the threat, that was a pretty interesting change. I didn't expect that one at all, to be honest. So I saw that and I was just like, wow, this is, you know, I'm okay with this. I did not expect this. Like the idea that a dev would remove gravity deaths is something that like never even occurred to me. So I was like, hell yeah, let's go. But so moving on from that, let's talk about the spirit system, because I feel that has been improved quite a bit. Now I think the spirit system, like as you saw right there, I recovered extremely fast. I think the spirit system was something that a lot of people were having, a lot of people were struggling with the demo, because the idea is as you build up that blue bar, you can spend the blue bar to enhance the damage of abilities. You can also just use it as like a cushion to attack or defend. And I feel like it was kind of slow building in the other demo, and now it feels like it builds faster in both directions. So if you're spamming your attacks and whatnot, that orange bar is going to rapidly fill up at the same time. If you're attacking and parrying and playing well, you're going to work through that bar. You can see right there, getting that one perilous parry, I went from like 3/4 of the orange bar filled up to like half my blue bar filled. So there's a lot more shift, and it felt very significant now in terms of like playing well. Feels like it really rewards you with spirit now, whereas before, ooh, look at that big hit. Whereas before it felt a lot tighter, I guess. So as someone that wasn't completely sold on the spirit system based on the initial demo, I think that they've definitely polished it up enough to where that being kind of the core mechanic of the gameplay, I think they're in a good spot. So and that's pretty big, because, you know, like when we first had a chance to see that, I was like, I get where this is going. You know, it rewards you for playing well and it punishes you for playing bad, but it didn't feel like the reward and the punishment matched, and now it does. Like if you have a full blue bar and you decide to do a martial arts spell or a wizardry spell on top of the obvious spirit damage that you're going to deal, you're seeing a pretty significant enhancement to the physical damage. So whereas before I had a complaint of like, well, you know, I don't want to use my blue bar to enhance the attacks. I want this to be, you know, kind of a buffer in the event that I take a hit or that I need to dodge. Now that doesn't feel like a concern. It feels like I can build it up plenty fast, and using that to execute big flashy attacks feels good. Speaking of flashy attacks, let's talk about playstyles, because I had a chance to do 3 separate playstyles in the demo. As I mentioned, the morale level capped out at level 5 in this, so it was pretty easy to kind of like fully flesh out a build before we fought the boss. And so I did the one you're seeing right now, which was mostly glaive focused with a little bit of spear. I did one that was martial art focused with dual blades, and then I did one that was almost entirely wizardry focused, so basically like an Omeo spellcaster. And I am happy to report that all the various build types are viable, at least based on, I mean, given it's a very kind of small standalone snippet, but based on what I experienced, it doesn't feel like you're going to be forced into a playstyle, which is a concern that I had with the demo. You know, and this kind of relates back to the spirit system. When we first had a chance to play with the spirit system, I got big Sekiro vibes, you know, like, okay, this game wants me to deflect how Sekiro had parries. It wants me to play around that. I have to deflect to build the spirit, and it felt like that was the approach the game, or I should say the path that the game wanted to funnel me down. And while you can certainly play that way, I mean, I did this whole first time, you don't have to. I had a build where I basically just spammed martial arts abilities over and over. That was busted and actually pretty funny. And that's going to be, I might add added that onto this video. We'll see. It depends on how, where we're at lengthwise when I finish talking. Alternatively, the wizardry spell, or the wizardry build I did, that was nuts. That was actually a lot of fun. And definitely one that I have on deck that I want to do at launch. Is just be a straight wizard, you know, rotating between the elements and whatnot. That was a lot of fun to do. But so the point being that play styles are looking pretty flexible for launch. It doesn't seem like this is going to be a I think a good way to describe it is like when I think of Sekiro, you know, people, I always tell people that Sekiro wasn't a Souls-like because there was no variety in approach. At the end of the day, everyone that played Sekiro, they were going to play it by parrying their way to victory. I mean, sure, you could dodge, I guess, but that wasn't, you know, it did not play good if all you did was dodge. Whereas this, you do absolutely have that freedom of build, whether you're playing with you know, spells or martial arts or the spirit system or however you want to do it. There is going to be a freedom of approach in this game that players will be able to take advantage of, and you know, everyone's going to be able to find their own way. Yeah, it's crazy the difference between the glaive and the spear, though. Like this guy, well, I guess let's talk about the spear a little bit, since that is the new weapon. I know everyone is curious, you know, how's the new weapon? It's not bad, but it's very fast. It's very multi-attack, and weapons like that are cool. I mean, I like the dual blades, but I found myself vibing more with like unga bunga big attacks, which is what the glaive offered. I mean, the glaive is the weapon that I liked the most back when I played the demo of this game in September, and that's still held true here. The glaive, I was just like, this is good. This is really good. Whereas the spear, you have these very rapid, very fast attacks. It does have similar scaling to the glaive, which is nice, because that way if you're doing a build around glaives, you can have a faster option as well. So, you know, your long, pokey stick boy. But yeah, I was very much, very much preferred the glaive to the spear still. And there we go, the 4-star Azure Dragon Crescent Glaive, which I actually asked them about loot and how randomized the loot is, and they weren't 100%, but they said that they think there might be a certain amount of standardization to it, because this demo was like certain stuff was standardized, so like I'd always get a Azure Dragon Glaive from that chest. And the one guy we were talking to, he said that he believes that the way it would work at launch is chests would be relegated to a specific type of loot. So for example, there would be like a chest that every time you open that chest, you're always going to get a weapon out of it. Or every time you open that chest, you're always going to get a helm or a chest piece or something. Which, if that is true, that would be super dope, because then, you know, we know like exactly what to do, like what we want to farm. I just want to call attention to that crazy counter. I just said this thing went full Nier Giganti on me, tried to jump up in the air and throw its spikes, and my guy was like, how about no? Chucked them all back at it. Just absolute crisp as shit MLG play. Which is funny, because at the start of this demo, I was going real sloppy, and now I'm just cleaning house. But, you know, you got to warm up. I hadn't played the game for you know, 2 months. But yeah, we're looking good. We're looking pretty good now, you know, whooping some ass. And then ironically, we're about to fight the boss from this demo. I actually walked into the boss fight. I forgot to spend any of my experience. So I go into the boss fight, and as I walk through the gate, the creative director, he's like, "Not leveling up, are we?" And I was like, "Wait, what? Oh no." But I'll let you see how that went. You know, I think pretty sure my skills carried me through that boss fight pretty well. But either way, I'm going to wrap things up in terms of the commentary. I'm just going to let y'all enjoy the boss fight, check it on out. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, really, really excited for this game now based on what I got to see today. At least, you know, the stuff that they said they changed. It's very rare that a dev goes, "Oh, we're going to change A, B, C, D, and we're going to make it better." And then you're like, "Uh-huh." And then you play, and A, B, C, D are all actually significantly better. So just based on like this first rework experience, I have very high expectations for this game on launch. So either way, check out the fight with Feng Z, and I'll see y'all down in the comments.